In this video, I'm going to show you a different way to position elements across the screen horizontally, and it's going to be called FlexBox. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want to create a container div. So I'll say div.container, and we can create the class in a minute. And then inside that, I want to have three different boxes. So I'm going to say div with a class of box, and I want three of those. Okay, there we go. Now let's do something with this container class. So I want to target it here in my CSS, and I'm going to give it an explicit width of 1200 pixels. Alright, and let's see what we have in our browser. So right now we've got these divs that are stacked on top of one another, and if you saw the inline block video, I talked about why that is, because each one of these divs has a display property of block unless we change it otherwise. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to update the display property of the container in this case to get these boxes to sit next to one another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for the container I want you to have a display of flex. And that's going to allow the elements inside that container to spread across the screen horizontally. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, very nice. As you can see, they are spreading across the screen horizontally. Maybe I want to have some margin in between them, and that's easy enough to do. I can just say margin right 25 pixels, something like that. Okay, and that will spread them out a little bit. However, a lot of times what we want to do is we want to spread elements out a certain number of pixels. So in this case, if I inspect, I set the width of this container to be 1200 pixels, and I really want these boxes to spread all the way across those 1200 pixels. So the way that I can do that is I can update how the elements are flexing. So first I'm just going to take out this margin right here, and then I'm going to say I want the content to be justified using space between. And that means it's going to evenly distribute those divs all the way across the page. Okay, so let me save that and let's see what that looks like. Okay, very nice. Now you can see that they're occupying the entirety of that 1200 pixels. Alright, let's try something else. So let's say that one of these divs is going to be shorter than the others. Maybe we'll say the second one we want to have a height of something smaller. So I'm going to create another class here, and we'll say shorter one, and we'll give this a height of 150. So I'll say height is 150 pixels. Oops. And then I'm going to apply that class here to the second one. So to apply an extra class, all I need to do is put a space in here and then just do shorter one. Okay, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, not so hot. It looks kind of weird that it's shorter than the others, but let's say that I wanted everything to be vertically centered inside the container. Well, we have an easy way to do that with our FlexBox. So what I can do is for the container, in addition to specifying a justify content of space between, I can also specify how I want these things to align vertically. So I can say align items, and we'll say center in this case. Okay, there we go. And now everything is vertically centered. Now if I shortened one of the other ones in a different way, so I could say next shorter, maybe this one would have a height of, oops, I spelled that wrong, 100 pixels, and then we could apply that to this third one here, next shorter. So let's save these two and see what we got. And there we go. Everything is still vertically centered in this case, which is exactly what I was looking for. So again, in summary here, to make this flex work, we have to apply it to the container element, the element that is the parent of all of these individual boxes. And then what I did was I specified a justify content of space between to space them all the way across that 1200 pixels. The other property I used was align item center to vertically align all those items to the center. FlexBox is extremely powerful, and it's something that you're going to want to spend a little bit of time playing around with to get a hang of.